love your kids. I know you probably love homeschooling most days, but somewhere in the middle of spelling lists or sibling squabbles, you started wondering, where did I go? I'm Teresa. I'm a certified life coach, graduated homeschool mom, someone who's been in the same place you were. And this video is for that mom who's asking, can I really homeschool my kids and still be me, still remember me? I didn't lose myself after I became a mom. The truth is, I didn't actually really meet myself. I didn't really know who I was before I was a mom. I remember I was committed, I was passionate, I was doing everything I thought I should do as a mom, but I was gradually feeling a disconnect, a disinterest in doing what I was doing. Not because I didn't want to be with my kids, not because I didn't want to give them everything, but there was like a disconnect here in my center. I thought that if I did just the right things like homeschooling or mothering, showing up perfectly, then I would feel whole. But eventually I realized I didn't want to disappear behind the role of mom or homeschooler. I just wanted to be me. I wanted to know who I was and what I cared about and follow the things that brought me joy, follow my rabbit trails. I wanted to have a seat at the homeschool table too. As I've coached many homeschool moms over the last 6 years, from about October 2019, I have noticed that a significant element of the reasons why they come to have a conversation with me is because they also lose their sense of self. They don't feel really clear on who they are, or what they're about, or maybe they feel bored by the life that they've always been living for so long. Maybe they just feel a sense of disconnect, like there must be something more. That's when I began to form this framework, which I now understand can be understood in the word flow. So I don't know how other people would define flow necessarily, but I've come up with this framework, FLOW, flow. It's a soul-aligned way of returning to yourself, coming home to you, especially when you've spent years living for others. So let me walk you through this. F for flow is find your voice. This is the part of you that knows what she wants and what she's tired of pretending about. One homeschool mom I worked with, she said, I began to untangle what I wanted for my kids, and then subsequently in coaching, what I wanted for myself. That's when she began to uncover, or for her, rediscover her voice. And I did too. Inside the role of mother, I finally heard the voice of me. L in flow is listen from within. The truth isn't always loud, but it's always present. And I know that we don't always listen because there's a lot going on. One mom who spoke with me today had shared with me that I'm learning to allow myself to have, to feel, and to express all my feelings without guilt. That's huge. Listening to your feelings is definitely one of the most important elements of rediscovering who you are, because we go years, actually years, really paying attention to what's going on in here for so many reasons. But it's a classic homeschool mom experience. Really, it's a classic motherhood experience. And for me, listening meant that I was trusting my body's nudges. You have this sense in your gut that this isn't quite right, or something else should be what I'm doing right now, or I don't think that I'm showing up the way that I want to. Sometimes we feel it in our hearts. Sometimes we feel it in our heads. Kind of depends on who you are. Really, we could go into a discussion of Enneagram here, a personality profiling system that I love. And oftentimes we either refer to our hearts, our heads, or our intuition or our gut. And that often speaks a lot about who we are as people, what really matters to us. And I know for myself, I tend to say from here, my heart, but a lot of people will say from the gut. Some people say their head or their thoughts. But either way, head, heart, gut, we need to trust ourselves when we're listening to ourselves. We need to notice when something is tightening or when it's tired. We need to honor that. We need to trust our intuition again. We need to listen within. So when I speak about listening, what is it that you think you may need to listen to? Is it your heart, your head, or your gut? O in flow means own your story. You don't have to keep hiding the parts of you that feel messy or unfinished. You can, because a lot of people do. But in my experience, and in my experience walking alongside other moms, I have learned that we tend to ignore because it's messy, because it's hard, because we don't know who to share it with, because it feels so not what we want. So we ignore it, except we can't ignore it. It comes up somehow, some way. One mom said to me something that I've said many times, but she recently said this, so I want to quote her. She said, "We're not raising kids, we're raising ourselves." That includes us. We are raising ourselves. We're all on a personal growth journey. We don't have to sign up for it, but we are. That's what we're called to. When I stopped attempting to be perfect in everything and doing it right and good or good enough even, and started actually engaging what's really going on, my real story, accepting who I really am, accepting my messy story, that's when I began to feel free, when I could show up more real, when I could show up more vulnerable with you. And it is, not ironically, when I feel more whole. W in flow stands for walk in wholeness. It's a practice, just like a baby. When they begin to walk, they stand. I remember my little girl, actually, I remember this vividly. I remember her standing up near the kitchen sink and for the very first time. And she just wanted to see what was it I was doing. She was so tiny, 10 months. She could not stand above the sink, but she wasn't holding onto my leg. She was just barely standing and so proud, like, I'm standing. She did that for the first time, and all she saw for herself was, look at me, this is cool. For the rest of humanity, beyond the age of, 2, 3, 4, we take it for granted that we walk, that we can walk, that it's a complete human experience to be able to walk. It took a lot for her to figure out how to stand and then take the first few steps. When she was in her early teenage years, she started to dance and learn how to do certain ballet techniques and jazz and contemporary dance. And after her homeschool high school graduation, she worked with a dance company for a few years. She learned to walk, and then she learned to dance, and then she learned to plie, and then she learned to dance the Nutcracker on stage. This all happened over the course of time, but she learned to walk. And I encourage you to walk in wholeness. When you learn the things that you need to learn so that you can be the fullest, truest you, to show up vulnerably and authentically and own your story, that's when you move toward wholeness. One homeschool mom shared this beautiful truth. It actually took the pressure of homeschooling off me when I stopped trying to get all my fulfillment from homeschooling. That's the kind of thing that you hear when a mom moves toward or walks toward wholeness. They feel free to enjoy the journey without micromanaging every moment. In one of my coaching calls, LaToya told me something that I'll never forget. I'm being called to live unapologetically as myself. Her kids are getting older. She's not needed in the same way. And instead of clinging to guilt, she's starting to say yes to what lights her. Things like movement and joy and Caribbean rhythms. She's dreaming of dance again, of creative expression, of making space just for her. And her theme? Becoming. Becoming means letting go of what no longer fits, giving yourself permission to grow and evolve. So now I want to ask you, where are you still giving away pieces of yourself to roles that no longer fit? Where is your voice growing quiet? Where is your joy asking to return? I believe you're not broken. You're just becoming. You get to choose you. You get to rediscover you. You get to move toward the flow of your life. And I'd love to walk with you as you come home to yourself. Here are 4 ways that you can take the next step to moving toward flow in your life. You can download the UBU checklist. If you haven't already, find that link below, or download the Rediscovering Yourself journaling workbook. We created that last year. It's for the homeschool mom who wants to uncover who she is, detangle from the things that she isn't. You're welcome to join me for the upcoming Flow workshop for homeschool moms. If you want to shed what's not working and show up confidently, authentically, and purposefully in your homeschool and mom life, join me. Or, of course, you're always welcome to DM me the word coaching if you're ready for a one-on-one conversation about your own story. Because yes, we are raising kids, but I'll guess you've noticed that we are also still raising ourselves. If this video resonated with you, would you consider sharing it with another homeschool mom who you know would benefit from this conversation too? It was a pleasure spending time with you. I hope you and your kids have a beautiful week. You got this, girlfriend.